Welcome everybody. I'm going to be unboxing another Medeli SP4200 today, also known as the Tourman SP5600 in some parts of Europe. So they're exactly the same instrument, just different branding. So anyway, I've got this Medeli that I purchased a couple of years ago, sort of before everything went pear-shaped. And I picked this up on a bit of a bargain because I thought, well, I'll grab it while I can because it was the last one they had in the country, actually, at the shop that I purchased it from. And it was on one of these Black Friday deals or whatever. And so I snapped it up because they haven't come back into stock since I purchased this. So I'm glad I've got it as a backup because I'm going to start using this one now as my other Medeli has started to sort of, the action is starting to wear out a bit on it. I've had it for 5 years. I've been using it for that length of time out on the road and all around the place, and it's just starting to wear out a bit. So I'm now keen to get this one unboxed and into use. I've actually purchased 3 of these. This is my 3rd one over the past 7 years now. So I've been using them for 7 years. This is my 3rd one. I've got another one that I did a video on last year, I think it was. It's the Medeli SP201, which is the sort of newer version or newer model Medeli that they released. So I've got that one as well. So I've actually purchased 4 Medeli keyboards during that period of time. But this is my 3rd SP4200. So I've been pretty happy with them for the most part. There's obviously they're not necessarily designed to withstand the rigors of, you know, use out on the road, especially if you're taking them to lots of gigs and you know, rough handling, that sort of thing. Probably not best suited for that. But if you've got yourself a good road case, and if you look after them, they do tend to last pretty well. So yeah, let's get started with this one. It shouldn't be a very long video because I've already done an unboxing video on my channel before, which you can go and have a look at. So this is just going to be a quick unboxing. I did actually have a look inside it when I first got it, so that's why there's just a little bit of tape on the top there. But I haven't actually unpacked it since I purchased it a couple of years ago, so this will be the first time it's come out of its box. And it's all really straightforward, really. You've just got your keyboard in there, well packaged, very secure there. Got your usual polystyrene keeping it in place, and of course your plastic wrap. So we'll just get that out, lift this out. So okay, so here's our keyboard. Yep, it's always nice having a new instrument. You know, I really wanted to purchase a upmarket keyboard. I was looking at the Roland, actually, FP90X. But we're talking about 3,500 New Zealand dollars for that, and it's a bit of a beast, very heavy, the Roland keyboard to carry around, and I just don't really want to get into that situation where I'm lugging around a keyboard which is over 20 kgs. The Medeli is only about 13 kgs, between 13 and 14 kg, so it's easy to pick up. As you can see, I've done it there. So I'm going to keep using this in the meantime and maybe upgrade to another keyboard once I find one which has all the specs that this has and also isn't too heavy to carry around. Anyway, what else we got? We've got the manual and we've got the music rest. So what I'm going to do, I'll just better put this over here because we don't want that toppling over. Okay, so just sit in the bottom, owner's manual, and a very basic music rest, which is just essentially just a wire music rest which sits in the back of the keyboard. But it does the job, and once again it's easy to transport. I'm probably going to have to get the knife out on this one, I think, otherwise we'll be trying to peel tape all day here. Okay, so good, pretty good owner's manual. There's just basic descriptions of things in there. I must admit that a lot of the stuff can be a bit tricky to follow, and that's why I've done a lot of videos on my channel with instructions on how to use certain functions on the Medeli. But you know, at least it's It's a basic manual, and you can get by with basic use just using that. There's your music stand. Pretty simple and straightforward. Let's put that down there at the moment. Now I know that the power pack is sitting in one of these polystyrene inserts. Yep, there it is there. So that's always the trick with these. You don't want to chuck out, or you don't want to throw out these without first making sure you've grabbed the power adapter or the AC adapter. Now, as you would have seen in some of my videos, it's actually a switching adapter. So it's just a real small and compact, very light, which is great. Just take that tape off. My main criticism with these has always been that they just have such a short cable on them. Okay, so there's your adapter there. But I always think they could do with actually making the lead a bit longer. It's only, I think it's probably about 1.5 meters or so. It's not very long. I won't unravel that at the moment, but yeah, they're not the longest lead in the world, so you quite often end up having to use them with an extension cord, and that's just one more thing you have to carry around. But that's just a small criticism on that. And that's really all there is. So that's what I mean. It's really straightforward, simple unboxing. There's nothing else in here. It doesn't come with a pedal, or in the New Zealand market, it doesn't come with a sustain pedal, so you actually have to purchase that separately. Luckily I already had a spare one, so I didn't need to purchase another one, but that's just something to be aware of, whichever country you're in. Just make sure that you get yourself a sustain pedal, or at least make sure that it comes with one. You just need to check that with your local supplier. So that's it. That's the keyboard unboxed. Now, what I've got is I've got a case which I purchased around about the same time. Once again, for the same reason, because I knew there were going to be supply issues and I figured prices were going to go up, which they have. So I grabbed a road case on a cheap deal, which is just perfect for the Medeli keyboard. And I've got that here. It's the Gator GK88 Slim. That's actually the model number, if you like, of the case. And they're really good because they have wheels. Okay, good casters on the bottom there, so that's really good for transport. I've actually just disposed of the old one that I had. I've been using it for about 4 years, my other one, and it finally just gave up and started to fall apart on me. The zip broke and the wheels, actually the plastic covering on the wheels came off as well. That's after 4 years of use, so I've just decided enough's enough and I'm going to start using this new one with the brand new keyboard. So it's good having both. But yeah, the wheels are pretty good, but they're not solid as in this actually plastic casing comes off, and there's actually the wheel mechanism actually sits underneath that. So it's not just solid plastic, but for the most part they're pretty sturdy. So I'll put the keyboard in here and you'll see how it all fits. Once again, because it's a nice light keyboard, I can easily put it in the case without too much hassle. Right, that just sits in there like that. So it's actually the perfect fit. It's the perfect fit. And you've got these straps that sit over the top and just keep it in place. Okay, so that makes it extra secure. Now, one thing with the keyboard before we start using it, of course, is we've got on the keys here, there's a plastic film. It's just covering the keys at the moment just to stop them from moving during transport. So we actually need to peel that off before we start using it. So I'm going to do that now. Just there it is there. It's always really satisfying doing this, peeling off the film for the very first time. There it goes. Okay. And you've also got a film covering the screen here. It says remove before use, so I'll do that in a moment. I won't do it right now, but there's actually as I say, a bit of film just protecting the plastic screen there, and that just needs to be peeled off as well. Once that's done, it's actually all ready to start using. I'll just show you the other part of this case. So we'll close it now. So in the top here, this is where I normally put the music rest, so that just fits in there really easily, like that. So it's away from the keyboard, so the keyboard's not going to get scratched by having that sitting inside there. That's great. Now I've got a pedal which I purchased some time ago. It's this one here. It's a proper sustain pedal rather than just having a foot switch. And I prefer to use these because they're more sturdy on the floor. They don't move around so much as what a foot switch does. And of course they just feel more like a real pedal. And they fit in the pocket really well, because that just tucks in there like that. And of course with the power adapter, you can just put that in another pocket. And there you go. And quite often I just carry around a kind of cleaning cloth. I just usually keep that tucked in the pocket there. That's obviously just a bit of information regarding the case. We don't need that. And if you really want, you could keep the manual with it as well, but I wouldn't normally carry that around with me. But you know, you can tuck that in there. And then it just all goes together really well. Okay, so we can zip that up. Now you've got to be careful with these zips. They're not, unfortunately, the zip quality I think is perhaps not as great as what you might get on, say, a commercial case like a traveller's suitcase or something like that. I've got a suitcase I've been using for years and years and years, and the zips never let me down, but I think the zip quality on these perhaps aren't as good as what they could be. You just got to be careful about when you're going around this bit here, around the corner, because that's where things can start to rip and start to wear out, and that's what I'm just going to be a bit more mindful of when I'm using this one. Anyway, that's all zipped up, so that's all ready to go. And you've got that grip there, and as you can see, pick that up, no trouble. So it's really easy. Got the wheels there to wheel it around. What they haven't done with this, which I think is a little bit, can make it a bit tricky, is if you want to lift it in and out of the car. You know, I drive a car which is a wagon, which means, you know, I can just slide this in the back of the car really easily, but I've still got to pick it up to get it in the car. And really what's missing is a sort of another handle to actually really just to pick it up, like on the side. You've got this loose strap here, but it would be good to sort of have some solid handles to be able to pick it up from. And even if it had a shoulder strap, I think that would be a handy option. But other than that, it's pretty good for carrying. I tend not to use this handle for dragging it along. Actually, this is the best one to use because you can rest it against your arm like that. Hopefully we can see that in the camera, but if you do that, that's a little bit easier than having to do this, because if you do it this way, you're actually taking the full weight of the bag with just your hands, but doing it this way, you've got the arm to support it. It just makes it a bit more sturdy. But that's it, that's really easy. So we're all ready to go with that. So folks, I'm going to put up some specifications on the screen, and so you've got that to refer to. And if you've got any questions, just feel free to drop me a message. As I say, I've been using these for quite a few years, and I find the sound quality pretty good on these keyboards, and the speakers are actually really good. Even the more expensive keyboards like the Roland, I don't find the speakers as good as what they are on this. And that's one of the main reasons I like this keyboard. And a feature that I use a lot as a singer piano player is the microphone input on the back of the keyboard. It just makes it so handy to be able to plug microphone and have your audio going into the back through the, so you've got a separate audio in and a separate microphone in. But I can quickly show you that on the back here. One thing I didn't show when I unboxed it, but I'll just turn this over and you can see it properly. So over here. Okay, we've got our, like I say, we've got our microphone in. It's really hard to see, unfortunately. They never labelled these in white. It's always been, you know, printed on the back of the keyboard there, and it's you know, you can't really read them in this light so easily, but that's your microphone input and that's your audio in there, both 1/4 inch jacks. So you just plug straight into there, and then you've got both those sound sources coming through the onboard speakers on the keyboard. And your audio out is just a stereo 1/4 inch jack, a single jack out, which is a bit unusual, but it's perfectly fine. All you've got to do is have a Y cable, which is really just, I've got one here actually, I'll grab that for you. So you just get yourself a cable like this, which has got the stereo 1/4 inch jack on at one end, which is that there, and then you've got your two, okay, your left and right. So that just goes in there, that's your audio out, straight to your mixer or your speaker, or you could have two separate speakers side by side, I suppose, but normally you'd just probably send this to a mixer or a speaker with two inputs, okay? Especially if it's obviously, if it's a stereo speaker, it will have two inputs to do that, but if it's just a standard speaker, you would have to send it through a mixer first, because you wouldn't be able to plug both those into a single input. And this here, of course, is your sustain, so that's for plugging in the foot switch or the pedal. And you've got your USB, which is great for a keyboard like this. So you've got your MIDI connection is typically what you use that for, and you've got your standard older style MIDI connections there, and of course your AC or your DC, sorry, 12 volts into the keyboard there. And that's it, really. So I won't talk about that anymore. I've got heaps of information on my channel about this keyboard, so if you want to have a look at some of the other videos, I've got a playlist there which covers off a lot of the different features and functionality and sounds and that sort of stuff. But feel free to drop me a message if you've got any questions, and thanks for joining me in this one. And we'll see you in the next video very soon. Alright, thanks everybody. Have a great day. Bye for now.